Welcome to today's oil painting tutorial. Today we're painting an Impressionist landscape using oil paint. I've got my palette knife and I'm using titanium white and cerulean blue. Mixing these two together we get a nice light blue for the sky, and I'm going to use a small filbert brush to apply the colour. Starting at the top of the canvas, working across and down. Starting just over halfway from the bottom, I'm making the hills for this landscape. We can now fill in the white area above the hills. I'm making several warm colours, the first one using white, lemon yellow and yellow ochre, the second one a bit more lemon yellow, the third colour with some white, adding some cadmium red to the first colour. Using a small filbert brush, we're going to take some of this first colour and start filling in on the right hand side. Using the middle colour and the lemon white, we'll lighten the base of the hillside. Now moving across to the left and filling in the middle, using a mix of all the colours. Adding some of the darker shade to the top of this hill. Now mixing in some crimson and working along the top edge, blending into the colour below. Now reaching into the permanent mauve, mixing that with the crimson and applying some random patches to the first hill on the right. Working across the top of the next hill. Now spreading some of that colour further down the canvas. Adding some dark areas to the left. We're going to mix a darker colour for some low-lying land in front of the hills. So using some French ultramarine, using some mauve and white. We're going to do a similar colour for some land on the opposite side. This piece of land is at an angle and rises away from the water. I've done some curved edge at the bottom, and that is for the reflection in the lake. I'm starting with cerulean blue, and this is for the water, and it's going at the base of the hills and between these two areas of land on opposite sides of the water. use little dashes of white, yellow and crimson, and these will be reflections. Some primary cyan mixed in, and this will be for a darker area of shadow. I'm adding a bit of white to highlight some areas on the hills. Adding some lemon yellow, yellow ochre mixed with cadmium red to make an orange. And adding varying amounts of crimson and some dark patches of the ultramarine mixed with the mauve. Now a touch more yellow. It's a bit spontaneous. A bit of cadmium red, some crimson, yellow, ochre and white mixed in, and giving more colour along the top of the hills. Now a little mauve, and some more lemon yellow down here. Now I'm adding some lighter shades to the land in the midground in the middle of the painting, adding some cadmium red, white and mauve in varying amounts, and this will be on either side. Some white added to the water to make some waves. And now I'm doing different colours for the clouds in the sky, using the yellows and white, and a little of the orange colour, and a bit of the crimson, varying amounts. And we'll make some nice big random clouds. And add a few brush strokes in between to add some colour to the blue. This is going to give it an impressionist look. I'm going to lighten the hills in the background by adding some yellow and white. Now some white highlights on this area, softening the top edges and working down. Adding a little darker blue again for the reflection in the water. Thank you for watching, and please join me in part 2 where we'll concentrate on the foreground.